Welcome back, everybody, to another podcast. A lot of things going on this week, especially in the last half hour.
No, it hasn't been half hour. It's been an hour, Logan. We were supposed to
Oh,
start at 7:30. It's 8:30 now. It's
I know,
8:33.
dude. Yeah. I guess all that aside, real quick, how was your week, Nelson?
It was dreadful. That's all.
Dreadful.
It was bad. It was really bad. It I won't get too much into it or anything like that, but the I will say the work week has not been pleasant. It just hasn't. And maybe it's because of me, but I'm home, that's all that matters, and I'm not at work at the moment, and I can just relax and I can just yap about whatever I want here on the podcast. So that's nice.
Yeah.
It's been rough, but I'm here and that's all that matters. How have
Yep.
you
It's
been?
always good to see you. I have been very tired. Today was my last day of school before spring break. Uh,
Nice.
so yeah, I'm on spring break now. But the older gentleman and I that at my work, we've been trying to prepare because tomorrow morning, we are going to do a big work day. We're having like 20 people show up and do stuff. So it's going to be kind of a big event, and he and I are basically going to have to manage all of that. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out.
Yeah.
Um, so there's that. Also, I've been doing a lot of thinking about my computer situation recently.
Oh, well, I have something related to computers if you want to know, which was about that Steam Deck that I told you from earlier. So,
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and tell us about that before I dive into my junk?
okay. So, uh, pretty much what happened was that beautiful white Steam Deck OLED that I got, that limited edition white. For some reason, I don't know if it was like the newest firmware update that caused it, or if it was just a setting that I changed in the BIOS. It probably is that. Um, it just caused it to, whenever I booted up the console, it would just crash like 20 seconds afterwards. Like the screen would freeze and then it would just reboot itself constantly. It was just frustrating. So I went into the BIOS and I tried trying to make some type of change. I don't remember what it was, but that didn't work. I tried hardware resetting it completely on the Steam OS side of things to see if that would work. It didn't, and I was just at it for like over an hour, and then somebody said, "Oh, well, if all hope is lost, just do a CMOS reset because what it will do is it'll reset the BIOS, and on top of that, it'll just clean the entire like Steam OS software. You're not losing the Steam OS software; it's still gonna be there when you install it, when you clear it out and everything." And
Yeah.
that seemed to have done the trick. It reset my BIOS and everything, so everything's basically at the stock now. It's back to stock. Only thing that I did on it was an undervolt. It was like negative 30 millivolts or something like that. I forgot what the proper term is. It's M, lowercase m, uppercase V. I think it's millivolts. I may
Yeah, I
be
think
wrong.
it's millivolts, yeah.
So that's all I did. I just had an offset of 30, and that was it. And I think that probably caused it to be unstable for like the newer version of Steam OS. And I wasn't able to play my games. They would always crash, but now I haven't ran into that issue ever since. So that was a little
All right.
frustrating, but what was it? I told my girlfriend, I said, I should just email Gabe Newell and see if he can help me with this. He probably knows. Because he looks at his emails. He does look at his emails, but he's
That's
like,
crazy.
I don't reply to them much, but I do read through them as much as I can. And I was thinking, that's the, as, you know, CEO of a big company like that, that's something to applaud for at least, because
Yeah, like even my professors don't read their emails, so it's like
oh
to
gosh,
think
that's horrible.
to think of a CEO that reads their emails
But
from the community. That's
it
pretty interesting.
it's nice. It really is nice. He's helped out a lot of people, especially on the Steam OS side of things, from what I know.
Hmm, interesting.
But I mean, that's how
Well,
that
you know I
was.
migrated to Windows on my Steam Deck.
Yeah, I heard that experience was horrible. I know you got sick and tired of of.
Not being able to play multiplayer games, yeah.
Do you dual boot or do you just have Windows on it?
I just have Windows.
Interesting.
And it works pretty good actually. Like the experience is decent. It's I mean, obviously Windows still needs that extra, you know, handheld mode kick, touch screen based something.
Do
But
the do the little trackpads work with it or no?
yeah, I think so.
Oh, they work just
Yeah.
fine. Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
At least that does
The
something for
drivers
you.
are pretty good, I think. The drivers that Steam has provided for the deck on Windows are pretty good and they seem to work okay. Um, actually I saw this week people started putting SteamOS on their ROG allies,
I saw that,
and
and a
they
lot.
say it.
It's incredible,
Yeah,
from what I've heard.
yeah, they say it's pretty good, and you get a lot more performance out of those more powerful processors that they have in the ROG ally.
Well,
So
it makes
I
me
don't know.
wonder with the whole, because we talked about this briefly last week, which for the folks listening, I haven't uploaded the video yet. I gotta edit it still. It's been a long week. That's all I gotta say. I'll have it by Monday. It'll be uploaded on Monday. This video and the other one, both of them will be on Monday probably. But um, the
Yeah, it took me until Thursday to get the previous one uploaded. So
but the Steam OS uh, Xbox integration, because you and I both know that they're working together, it makes me wonder, okay, if they're trying to bring, Steam games to Xbox and Xbox games to Steam, which they've done so before in the past, I really hope that we see some level of like integration in terms of or update for multiplayer, at least for people who want to play their multiplayer games on Steam OS. That'd be really nice.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
if you want
that's
to
the
play it,
biggest thing I think.
you need to have Steam OS installed, and you need to have this version of Proton or whatever installed, so that way the anti-cheat can work. Because
Yeah.
the reason why a lot of the anti-cheats don't work is because it's Linux, and
Yeah, it's a kernel level thing with Linux that doesn't allow anti-cheat software doesn't like it, or I don't know.
yeah, I don't
It's
know the logistics behind it, but it just doesn't like it, and that's it.
oh, I know what it is actually. Linux doesn't like things to have direct access to the kernel, and it's like a safety mechanism or something so that no viruses attack your system. And anti-cheat software goes all the way down to the kernel level, as far as I know. So it's not compatible. That's the problem. Um, I think it's really a problem with the anti-cheat software industry. Like they need to make anti-cheat more Linux friendly because there are a lot of people on Linux nowadays.
I know it's getting
Um,
popular. It's getting a lot more popular than it was before.
yeah.
Like PewDiePie's gaming
So
PC was Linux based.
did he really switch to Linux?
He did use Linux. I thought I we
Hmm.
talked about this. I may be wrong, but he built a
I didn't realize it was Linux. I thought it might have been Windows still. I wasn't sure. Maybe I just forgot.
no, that's all right. But
But
I
yeah.
really hope
Mm,
I really hope because I would love to play Call of Duty on the Steam Deck. I would play the crap out of it on the deck. I mean,
I
it's
mean, you
either
could download Windows.
yeah, but I don't want to lose my nice Supreme Valve Steam OS edition, like all that
But I mean,
exclusive
you
stuff.
could just re-download SteamOS if you're really worried about it.
Yeah,
Like, you
but
could do Windows for a short time and then go back to SteamOS.
I'll think about it. Maybe
Yeah.
I might
I
do it.
mean,
I don't know.
if I had to sell my Steam Deck, I'd probably just load a fresh version of, because there's a recovery image of SteamOS on
Yeah,
the website. So, and I've done that before actually, since I replaced my internal SSD. So it wasn't too bad. I mean, especially if you have a USB drive that's USB-C, it's
yeah.
pretty easy. Um, yeah, I don't know. I played Garden Warfare 2 on my Steam Deck a lot today, and I couldn't do that otherwise. So I do like Windows on it's nice. I might I might buy another SSD because the SD card's kind of slow. But that's
It is
the
super
only
slow,
problem.
but I guess that Steam OS kind of makes up for it. I guess because with the SD card, I suppose, but
Mm-hmm.
it's good. I
Uh, one thing I wanted to show you was
Yeah.
this.
What do you got for me? Let me tune in
Um,
to you real
I've
quick.
I've already talked about this before. We know all about this. This is the Framework desktop, and I was not interested in this. Right? You knew this. I said I'm not really interested. I have a Framework laptop. I don't need this. Why would I need this?
Yeah.
The thing is,
Did you buy one?
no, not yet.
Not yet. Oh no. The famous
I
word yet.
was I was thinking about my PC and how often I use it, which is like not often at all. Like I hardly ever use it. I basically only use it for this podcast. Um, this this framework desktop is supposed to be 4060 performance. I don't really think I need more than that. Anyway,
Yeah, but isn't your graphics card more powerful than a 4060?
certainly. Yeah. It's like 4070 basically. But it's only a class away. Um And honestly, my PC has been such a pain to deal with. Like I've had unending issues with it that I thought I have had zero issues with my framework laptop. Like literally zero. And if this is like that, this is worth it for me.
You might as well just buy that. Yeah, if you're gonna do pre-built, you might as well just take this route. If I were doing
Yeah,
that, I would do this.
right. The biggest problem is it's really expensive. Um,
What'd you
but
configure it to where it's like 3 grand or something?
my configuration would be just under $2,000.
Oh, well, that's good.
Like I guess I'll go through it. Might as well.
Yeah,
I picked
show us.
the mid tier.
Okay.
I don't need storage because I already have storage. So none, none. I like Windows. I don't know what's the difference between Windows 11 Home and Pro.
I think Pro. Let me do a quick. Let me do a quick
Because
search
I
real
have
quick.
Pro on my laptop, my framework laptop, but I don't I don't actually know the difference. Is it just more customizability or something?
Maybe. Let's have a look and see real quick.
Security, virtualization, and administrative tools, which can be more beneficial for business, but can also be useful for personal users. Interesting. I don't. I'd probably just go with Pro. I mean, it's $60 more. That's a lot. Maybe I just go with Home. I don't even use it that often. Uh, so maybe I would go with Home.
Maybe.
CPU fan, Cooler Master's fine. Uh, AC cable, obviously need that. Side panel, black, it's cheaper. And then quick select. the front tiles. I want one of these. And I don't need any expansion. Actually, I do want a couple. I want an Ethernet and another audio because I do need more of those. And that's it. So 1855. It's a lot. Um, but
Money
honestly, I think it's pretty close to
looks good,
what I
right?
could get for my PC parted out.
Yeah.
Like if I sold my parts for my PC, I think I could get probably 16 or $1,700. And
Yeah.
then I still have like my old graphics card. I was telling you guys that I was thinking about swapping or getting an expansion slot thing for my laptop so that I could just use it. Um, but it's kind of expensive, and I'm not entirely sure that it's going to be, I'm not sure that it's going to be very good. So I think this is a better bet. It's more expensive by a lot, but I think it's going to be more worth my time. And honestly, I'd prefer to have separate devices for my laptop and my desktop anyway, because like right now, I'm recording this podcast on my end on my laptop just to see if I can go without my desktop long enough to wait for this framework desktop to come in. Because really, all I use the desktop that I have for is the podcast. So if I can make it through the podcast and record the podcast with my laptop, then I can start parting out my desktop computer. And I almost feel bad about that because we were kind of homies with the AMD graphics cards.
Well, this is still
Um,
AMD, is it not?
yeah, it is. It's a AMD APU sort of thing. So I don't know. I might end up doing if this podcast records well. I might end up doing it. We'll see.
Well, I'm sure that it'll do you just fine if you do actually follow through and get it.
Yeah,
You'll
I
probably have a better time on it than your current desktop build because the
yeah.
current desktop that you are off of, it's a basically a what is it? Just
It's the
new
it's the biggest
components.
pain I've ever.
It's new components in an old PC case that you had previously.
Yeah, and it I don't know. Software wise, I think there's something wrong with it. I think I need to go through and do an entirely new Windows install or something. And honestly, at that point, it's like I'd rather just start fresh with a PC that I know is going to turn out well. Um, because my laptop, honestly, I've never had a better experience with a Windows device. Like never. Um, and that comes down to like framework. The thing about it is you install Windows yourself, which means there's no bloatware besides just the regular Windows stuff.
Yeah.
So, like when you buy from like an HP or um like a Lenovo or something, you're going to get extra software on there that's just like trash software that you don't really want. Um, and that's kind of even the case for my desktop PC. Like I have Armory Crate on my desktop PC, and it sucks. I
It's
hate it.
annoying. I every single time whenever I boot up my computer, there are times where it just appears randomly and I'm like, I told you to be uninstalled and wiped off the face of the earth.
Right.
Why do you keep coming back?
Yeah,
It's very
I know.
invasive. I haven't had any issues ever since I got rid of it, so that's a plus. But that was the biggest
Yeah.
issue that I had when I first built this PC was that Armory Crate just kept bothering the crap out of me. Half the time, whenever you opened it and
Mm.
connected to the servers, so that way you can modify your BIOS and everything, it wouldn't work half of the time. So I'm like, forget this. It's annoying, it's bloat, and it makes my computer slower. So let me just delete it.
Yeah. So
I'll
I'm
just go into the BIOS and change it myself. It's fine. I know what I'm doing.
yeah. That's just the nice thing about Framework is it's the cleanest, most pure install Windows that you can get. And it's on a device that's relatively streamlined, relatively well thought through. And right now, I mean, I'm taxing the crap out of it. I think with this recording business, uh, because the integrated graphics are not up to the task of recording several captures of my main monitor and outputting like basically 4K. Um, so it is almost I think this is not a good long-term strategy, but I think if it's enough to hold me over until I can get my hands on the desktop itself and I can get all my PC parts sold, um, should work out fine.
Yeah.
And I think that desktop should be more than powerful enough to handle what I need it for. And I really like stutters are such a massive problem on my current PC. Such a massive problem, and there's nothing I can do about it.
I
Like I've
don't know.
tried everything.
I don't. I've had horror. You know, it's crazy. Speaking of stutters, real quick, I'm gonna get off topic for a second, but Assassin's Creed Shadows, I have not ran into a
Yeah,
single
tell us all about it.
stutter at all with that game. It's a
Nice.
crazy to me. I don't know how or why, but for for that game, for some reason, I have not ran into any like technical difficulties whatsoever. And usually for a lot of, big AAA titles that I have, even like ones that came out years ago, I'm still having trouble with. I don't know if you know this, but within game design, there's this you get this hitch ever so often, especially in big open world games. It happens in Red Dead 2, I believe, to some extent as well. And
Yeah.
it's supposed to basically like load in, you know, assets in that area, and it's like an updated memory or something within that area because it's supposed to remember that you've been in that specific location before. It's a, what do you call it, a traversal stutter. That's what it is. Like the second you cross over it, it hitches a little bit and then it goes back to normal, and you get like very smooth FPS shortly afterwards. You don't get any frame
Mm.
dips or anything until you move into the next traversal area, and it's just loading in assets and that's it. There's really nothing you can do about it as far as I know. Even if you have the most powerful SSD on earth and the most powerful CPU and GPU, it just comes down to just poor optimization, and that's about it. But for this game alone, I have not ran into a single traversal stutter or anything like that. I've had a, for the performance that I'm getting without FSR3 or anything, I'm not using FSR frame generation or anything like that. I wish I had gameplay in the background. I'll have that next time. But um for that game alone, on a technical level, it has performed exceptionally well. My average FPS, I think, is higher than normal than what most people are getting, especially on the Nvidia side of things. It's a little low on the AMD, but I don't know what it is with mine, but I guess it's the fact that I have a 7900 XTX, but I mean, I do use what do you call it? One of the upscaling factors. I use Intel's upscaling. It's the XESS upscaling. I forgot what it's called, but that's what it is, I think. Not FSR3. It's kind of blurry, especially with FSR3 for some reason. It's not really rendering stuff in
Yeah,
properly, I
you know what?
guess.
I think we're supposed to be getting FSR4 to our graphics cards.
Well,
And
I
that actually looks pretty impressive.
so what's crazy too is that I haven't used FSR's frame generation on the game, and I get like 120 to
Mm.
140 on average, which is nice on a 1440p monitor. That's good. Um, I've had it enabled beforehand, and then I have to go into my AMD settings on my desktop and force VSync on, because whenever you have FSR FrameGen on, you can't turn on VSync at the same time. And I guess because of that, it conflicts with one another for some reason, and the frame timing and the
Mm.
frame pacing gets all over the place from what I know. And I just force it anyways because I don't like screen tearing. That's about it. I hate screen
Yeah.
tearing. Even with, in both of these monitors that I have right here, both of them are AMD FreeSync monitors. And I shouldn't
Yeah.
be getting screen tearing. I really shouldn't, but for some reason I do. And I made sure they're enabled. I followed Blurbuster's guide online. I don't know if you've heard about them or anything, but they have a whole guide just dedicated to, using NVIDIA's FreeSync and G-Sync and all that stuff. They have like all sorts of stuff. They have like a whole community just dedicated to that alone, which I think, I mean, that's nice.
Wow.
It's especially helpful for newcomers who are wanting to get a little bit into PC gaming and everything. But I mean, I will say, what was it when I was working?
That's so much of a problem with PC gaming,
I know,
dude.
and I'm like thinking to myself, this is why I just want to be on console. Forget this. I don't care. I just want to be on console. I'm so sick of it. I got so tired of it.
Yeah. I mean, I've been playing on like I told you, I've been playing on the Steam Deck a little bit,
Yeah.
and it is a relatively solid like PC experience. Um, yeah, especially if you're using SteamOS. If you're using SteamOS, it's like, okay, this is a pretty good PC experience. It's relatively streamlined. You don't, you may have to turn down the graphics settings, but overall, it's pretty good. Uh, on Windows, it's pretty good too, but you have some weird little odds and ends here and there too. Like, I cannot launch PvZ Garden Warfare 2 without launching both Steam and the EA app beforehand. Like, it will not launch the
That's
EA app
that's
at
happened
all.
to me before, especially when it came to
Yeah.
Battlefield. I don't know why. I think they what is it? It probably has to do with something for EA's like quarterly earnings calls or numbers to just track how many people are on their website. Like, oh, in order for you to play the game, you need to open up EA as well. That way you can
Yeah.
join up with your friends and everything
Well, I
like
mean,
that.
usually it's like it opens it up automatically, right?
It
I mean, it does
should.
that on my PC. It
I
should.
I don't know. I don't know then. But I mean, speaking of that, there was, I think it was about a month or so ago. I don't know. We may have talked about it, but with Call of Duty at least, even if like if you closed out of Call of Duty on Steam, for some reason in the background the game would still be running. Like it wasn't closed out completely or anything. Even though on
Oh, weird.
Steam, it says that it it's completely stopped and you can click play again. For some reason, the anti-cheat was still running in the background while you were still playing, I believe.
Mm.
Even though they put out like a kernel level driver for the anti-cheat, the software was still running in the background. I don't know. It was so bizarre, and it's it's just false numbers at that point, and I'm sure a lot of investors were not happy about that for the amount of players that were on Black Ops 6, especially for Steam. I don't know if you know this, but like Black Ops 6 on Steam at the moment, the game that you see right here, it is performing horribly at the moment on Steam. It's not even in the
Mm.
top 10 anymore. It's like
Wow.
they have less than 50,000 concurrent players, which is, I mean, shocking for Steam at least. Because Steam is like one of the biggest platforms, especially for PC gaming, and the fact that Call of Duty isn't performing on there is just baffling to me. And a lot of people like to, mention and bring up, well, most people are on BattleNet, and I think to myself, okay, well, if the trends on Steam show that they've lost about 80% of the player base, I'm almost certain that those trends are carrying over to other platforms as well, even on BattleNet and
Yeah.
PS5 and
Yeah,
Xbox.
you'd imagine that they're fairly similar.
Yeah, you can assume it's not guaranteed, but I assume that's exactly what's currently happening. And I mean, we could transition into this if you'd like, but I really do think that Call of Duty is putting all their eggs into one basket with the new Warzone, or not new, it's not new at all. They're just banking on nostalgia off of Verdansk's glorious return, the return of Verdansk. I don't know
Hmm.
if you heard about it. I don't know if you got any like YouTube ads for it or anything, but
I think I did. Yeah, 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 I did. I think I sent one ad I got to Meme Time
oh yeah,
because it had this that one song.
you did send it to me, yeah. And I was thinking to
Yeah.
myself, dude, this is. I hope it flops. I hope it fails. I really do,
I
but
mean, the ad seemed kind of cool, but
it's
it
it,
was it.
I mean it's cool, but I think to myself, okay, like everybody was voicing their opinions about what they want the map and the mode to be again. Like they want it to be like the old school Verdansk, like the same movement and mechanics, all the same weapons and everything. And I'm thinking, you guys, that's not
Yeah.
happening at all. They're not doing that. It's not going to happen at all. Like this happens to us multiplayer fanboys every single year. Like we love a certain feature and it never gets carried forward into the next game. We all cry and cry and cry about it,
Yep.
but it's supposed to come out part of Black Ops 3's or Black Ops 3, good lord. Black Ops 6's season 3 update, and it's kind of this one's kind of underwhelming, I would say, for this new season at least to some extent. I feel like at least for what we have going for, there's not that much content to being delivered to us at least. I mean, we do get 6 multiplayer maps this time around, and I will give credit where credit is due. I think that's nice, but I do think that um shouldn't say that's a filler word, Nelson. Come on.
I say it all the time. Oh no.
I do think that I forgot what my point was, but anyways, if you turn to my page for the viewers watching right now, this is pretty much the content we get for season 3 at least. So for Black Ops 6, we get a couple of new maps here. I believe we get basically 4 new maps, and one of them's a remaster, and another one is a map variant of an already existing map. It's supposed to be 6 new maps, but realistically it's 4. And we're gonna get Barrage, which looks like a map in Vietnam, Nomad, which looks like an Afghanistan map, Firing Range, which is a returning map. It got remastered again for like the 9th time in a row from the previous Call of Duty games, which there's nothing wrong with that. Firing Range is a good map, but can you guys do something else for once instead of constantly remastering this map? But we got Haven, which this map looks pretty good. Signal, this looks like a submarine map. And then Blaze Town, which is, for those wondering, it's supposed to be a map for 420, the National Smoke Weed Day. That's what it's supposed to be. Yeah. And we get, in terms of modes at least, Sharpshooter is making a return, and Demolition is. For those wondering, Sharpshooter is basically where everybody on both teams they spawn in with the same weapons, and every 30 to 45 seconds, from what I know, the loadouts switch each time around. But if you look at the weapons, operators, and more, if you look over here, you can see that a lot of the classic weapons from the original Warzone era are making its return. So you have like the CR-56 AMAX, that's a Galil assault rifle if you're wondering. I, I get that you're probably lost right now, Logan, but these were some of the original weapons that came with the game. and they're supposed to come into Black Ops 6, which in terms of continuity, this is really off-putting to me because this is all Modern Warfare related weapons, like part of the Modern Warfare subseries, and not really Black Ops related. The only Black Ops related stuff is the nail gun and the Ladra submachine gun, and that's about it. And
Hmm.
I mean, we have a monolithic suppressor. They're now putting attachments in battle passes now. We've gone so far down the drain now at this point in terms of delivering content for multiplayer and to some extent Warzone at this point. But with this content roadmap, it really does, to me at least, it seems like they're putting all of their eggs into the Warzone Verdansk basket. And
Mm.
this is just, to me at least, the content here, it's a little underwhelming. I'm going to play it, of course. I'm going to check it out. And I'm sure it'll be a decent like chunk of content to grind through. We're going to get a new zombies map called Scattered Veil. This actually looks pretty cool. This looks like it's from the campaign, but um, Hudson, of course, making a return. We have Mace, who is from Warzone 1, of course, and Rose, which was also from Warzone 1. And that seems to be about it in terms of content. But you can, if you look over here, of course, here's the map layout for Barrage. Pretty cool. Seems to be at least like a small to medium sized 3-lane map by the looks of it. I'm not a fan of 3-lane maps because I really do think it eliminates, that form of using your brain to actually, outplay your and outmaneuver your opponents at least. It just turns into mindless shooting. And I mean, I get it. That's probably what the series now is going for at this point. But I mean, Call of Duty used to have really good maps. They did a couple years back. I will say some of the maps from Cold War and even Vanguard, I'll give Vanguard props. Modern Warfare 3 as well, and Modern Warfare 2, the newer versions of it, they had good maps, but Black Ops 6 maps, they're all right. You just have to be careful with the way that you play them at least. And then here's another map, of course. It's a strike map, so you can play it in 2v2 or 6v6. This one looks like some freaking blown out Middle East wasteland, I guess. But I mean, we've had plenty of those before in the past for Call of Duty. It's not really all that appealing to me. And of course, the classic firing range is making its return, of course. This one looks a little bit different than the old school style firing range. So it seems like they just gave it a facelift and slapped a bunch of new textures all over it. But I don't know. Maybe it's AI generated, maybe it's not. We'll never know. And then
Yeah.
this one got a bit of a buzz within the community at the moment. It was today on Twitter, I believe, when they announced this, or it was Thursday actually. This was supposed to be one of the Modern Warfare 3 maps for last year's game, and it got taken out of that game and put over into this game at least. So this map never got released in Modern Warfare 3, but it's coming out this year. And the reason why people are speculating that is because if you pay attention to like the overall map layout, if you look at my cursor here, it's all red around, and that was Modern Warfare 3's like map layout theming. So people are theorizing that yeah, this seems to be taken directly from that game. Whereas if you look over here, it's kind of like the orange hue style of, map layout, I guess, if you will. Even the other maps have this style. But this one doesn't. This one looks directly ripped from Modern Warfare 3. I don't know. But here's Signal, of course, the submarine map by the looks of it. Pretty neat, I'd say. I mean, be pretty nice. And that seems to be about it, at least in terms of like the overall like new content that's coming with this season at least. And if I could, I probably should actually find the
Do you think
Warzone
this is
layout.
going to drive more traffic to the game? Because you said that it's not doing so good on Steam right now. Do you think that this is going to pick things up a bit again?
Yeah, speaking of that, I should have brought that up as well, just to keep it going at least. But this is, in my honest eyes at least, uh, it's not going to save multiplayer. It really isn't. I think after a month, like that 1 month after Black Ops 6 came out, like in December, they started bleeding players badly in December. Like there was just
Mm.
nothing to go for in the game. Like they didn't really have anything new or unique to offer, and they have been bleeding players ever since. And that's what I think, in my eyes at least, what the whole Warzone Verdansk return is. They're supposed to like recapture that, how would you say it, that era of 2020 when it first came out. And
Yeah.
people are, I think they got their hopes up. Their hopes are too high, at least for what it has to offer. And I don't think it's going to bring back memories. I think it's just going to make bad ones, at least. And I mean, I've played it. I played Warzone 1 when it first came out because I was a person that I bought Modern Warfare 2019 and I got like 24-hour early access to the game mode. And it was fine. It just wasn't my thing. The Battle Royale stuff is not my thing. And we were all, it was a global pandemic, of course. We were all locked in our rooms. It was
Yeah.
just a game that came out at that time that everybody hopped on and played. So I
Right.
really don't think that it's gonna bring. I don't think it's gonna bring that many people back, and I may be wrong. And if I am wrong, I hope that it dies soon afterwards because I'm so tired of Call of Duty sacrificing its core identity for the sake of some battle royale mode because it's the current hot trend at the moment. And Call of Duty tends to chase trends, at least in order to survive. And I don't know. I don't think it's going to be enough. I really don't. And I hope I'm right. I really do. I hope I'm right. And I probably am right, at least. It's probably going to bomb. I'm sure within a week or a month at least it'll be popular, and then people are going to start to realize all the core issues that surrounded the game to begin with, and then they're just going to start bleeding again. I don't think it's going to save the Steam players. I really don't. And who knows, it may be a commercial success, but it seems like they're, like I said before, they're really trying to, you know, put all their, effort into this at least. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if you tune back in, you can see here's the roadmap for Warzone at least. And it seems like they're getting more content than Black Ops 6, which is not a good sign, I would say, at least for what
Yeah.
they have. Because
Do you think Warzone is more profitable than Black Ops 6?
so Warzone I would say at least, has been more profitable than the current ongoing Call of Duty titles. Now, and this is where my pessimism comes into play, at least with the current state of Call of Duty, and a lot of multiplayer fans, to say at least. We have been put on the back burner for so many years at this point that it's only taken up until Modern Warfare 3 and a little bit of Black Ops 6 where we're starting to finally get more content for multiplayer. And because Warzone was just overshadowing, like, just the regular paid experience of Call of Duty. Like, the people who paid for a premium experience. Like, we expect content, like, every, like how the older games used to be. We expect like a good chunk of content, new maps, new weapons, that type of stuff. That's what we expected whenever a new DLC update came out. Now, at
Yeah.
least, since Warzone, a lot of their effort, because of how popular it got, a lot of their effort just went into Warzone, and multiplayer at least just suffered drastically. It was just struggling for years. It struggled for such a long time. And it only took until Warzone 2 that multiplayer finally started to get you know, a little bit of attention. And it's gotten better. And my biggest worry with this, at least, is that this is just going to overshadow multiplayer again. And multiplayer is just basically never going to, really get that much love or care that it deserves. At least that's what I think. I mean, I'm not going to play this crap. I really don't care. And I'm going to call it crap to begin with. This is garbage. I don't care. I really don't. But I'll play Black Ops 6 multiplayer over this. And it just seems to me, at least, like for what they have to offer here, there's just more going for it than, the traditional multiplayer updates. Like for modes, of course, you have Battle Royale, Rebirth Resurgence, Plunder, Battle Royale Casual, which this is a new thing, and this opens a whole nother can of worms, of course. And you have Battle Royale Ranked Play, High Trip Resurgence. I don't know what that is, but whatever. You get quality of life improvements. We don't get any for multiplayer. The features that we ask for on multiplayer, we don't get that at all. This doesn't carry over into multiplayer. No, we don't get this stuff. And I guess it makes sense because of the game mode, but we don't get this level of quality of life for multiplayer at least. So squad redeploy in the buy station, and that seems really great. Detailed death recap widget. We don't get this in multiplayer. I want this in
Hmm.
multiplayer. That'd be nice to know what happened and how I died and everything, to what, where, and from. If you do a weapon inspect now, apparently it'll showcase the attachments on the weapon. Like that's not in Black Ops 6. That's not coming to Black Ops 6. That's only going to be a Warzone thing. So it seems to me, at least, that maybe the games are starting to split and come apart a little bit. I may be wrong, but. And then, of course, field upgrades in the squad widget, prioritize favorite loadout in Gunsmith, which I thought that was already in the game, but I guess not. And I guess a HUD loadout icon. Big yawn, of course. 150 players are returning, I guess. Floating loot, I suppose. This was one of the things that people have been crying to come back. And, I mean, it seems like there's a lot more going for this time around. And will it bring back players? I think it will, but only for a short duration. I really do. Only for a short
All right.
duration. I don't think it's going to
Interesting.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to do well. I think it's just banking off of nostalgia. And for us multiplayer guys, we know exactly what nostalgia is, and we've dealt with it
Mm-hmm.
plenty of times. That firing range nonsense that you see right here, this, none of us really
Yeah.
care. I don't care about it. I really don't care about firing range coming back. I've played it so many times. It's ingrained into my mind. I don't need it. I don't want it.
I don't need it. I don't need it.
I don't want it. But I mean,
Oh.
what was it? I think there was a closer view of the weapons, I believe, but they're just showcasing like some of the, areas of the map that they updated the graphics in and what they remastered. Apparently, according to the devs, they built it from the ground up again. And it's not like they
Hmm.
just ported it from the original over and updated the graphics. From what I know at least, that's they didn't do that. But
Interesting.
I don't know. Uh, we'll just have to wait and see until April 3rd. I hope it
Yeah.
flops. I hope it flops miserably.
Yeah, everyone's being careful not to post things on April 1st. I think oh, that ties in so nicely to what I have next.
Yeah, what you got going for us?
Uh I think the Nintendo Switch 2 reveal is on the 2nd. Is that right? It's this upcoming Wednesday. Yeah, that's the 2nd. Like everybody's being careful not to post things on April 1st, April Fool's Day.
So it's supposed to be April 2nd. That's when they're supposed to talk about it.
Yeah.
12 gigs of RAM,
They
256 onboard storage, ability to upscale games
they
to a
still
higher
have to
4K
release the
resolution.
pricing. Yeah,
What do you
and the
think the pricing is
official
going to be?
specs and probably some
It's
games.
got to be at okay, at worst $600. At best,
Yeah,
for
I
me at
don't think it'll
least,
be that much.
my belief at best would be $400. or 450.
I think realistically at best it's gonna be 400, but um, if they could do 350, that would cement a lot of sales for them, right?
If
Oh, look
you
at my
come out
camera.
if you come out
Ew.
swinging, showcasing the AAA titles on the Nintendo Switch 2 reveal, you bet your sweet bippy I'm buying one. I don't care. If I
Yeah.
can play Call of Duty on the Switch, so be it. I don't care. I'll buy it. I'll buy it. I'll eat my Nintendo Switch SD cards for all I know. But
Yeah. Oh, they did. Okay, so this is crazy. They had a Nintendo Direct yesterday. That's what this is. This is a Nintendo Direct that they held yesterday, and it was live on, I think it was live. Whatever. It was on YouTube, and
is there
there's
a new Metroid Prime?
a lot of stuff in here, and it's all for the Switch 1. Like as far as I know, there's nothing that they posted that's for the Switch 2 specifically. It's all Switch 1, and I imagine that all this is going to get, I guess, yeah, every game that they put up here is going to be on the Switch 2,
It'll be
but
on the Switch too, but it makes me wonder, okay, for these games that they have going on, are those going to be like, how would you say it, versions on for the Switch 2,
there'll
improved
probably be Switch
versions?
1 versions that are just ported over or something.
You don't think there will be any graphical enhancements or anything like that, upscaled to 60
I mean,
FPS or
maybe
anything?
because these companies are releasing so late into the Switch
What's
One's
the
life.
what's the new Metroid game? That's the only thing that I care about.
That I think is gonna go on the Switch 2. Let's see if I can. Where is that? That's pretty late, I think.
Go up,
Uh,
because I know I saw it. Keep going. You're good. You're
here
good.
we go.
You're good. What do we got here? Let's check this out.
It
Metroid
looks
Prime
pretty
4.
stylized, but it's not visually impressive by any stretch.
Well, I think for in terms of the art style, at least for Metroid, this is Metroid by
Yeah,
to me at least.
yeah.
And it's a first-person shooter. That's
My
nice.
brother was like, "It's Halo," and I'm
I
like,
can
"Yeah,
kind
it's
of see it.
Halo." If
I can kind of see
if
it. Yeah, this looks like Halo 4's reveal trailer to me.
yeah,
That's what it
I was like, "It's
reminds me of.
Halo." If the creators of Halo actually could make a good game nowadays.
If 343 could make a good game, gosh dang it.
Samus must scan stone figures and other relics to carve a path forward.
It looks kind of cool, but
What? Well,
I don't know. The
Metroid
graphics look like they could have been made 10 years ago.
Metroid Prime Remastered is a first-person shooter game, and this looks similar to it.
Abhorrent alien creatures.
Like the
Yeah.
remaster was good from what I heard. I wanted to play it, but
I mean, this could be pretty fun to play on a Switch 2.
look, for the Switch
Like, I
at
could see
least,
this being one of the games I would like more on a Switch 2.
we have not had a really big market when it came to first-person shooters for the Nintendo Switch after so many years of it being
I know.
So, I'm really hoping with the Switch 2 we're going to see a huge increase in that. The graphics look good. I don't think they look terrible. I think they look pretty good for
They're
what
decent.
they have.
Samus to operate mechanisms
Yeah.
and open doors.
Certainly, I mean, if this ran on the Switch,
Also allow her to control
You know what game runs
That's
good on the
impressive.
Switch? You know what game runs really good on the Switch and it's a first-person shooter?
what game?
Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. Both of those ports are amazing.
Do they really?
They're great ports. Both made by
That's
Panic
awesome.
Button. Both made by Panic Button, so they're really good at their stuff.
Wow. Huh. Because those are legitimately visually impressive games,
Oh yeah.
but
what will be her
I haven't seen anything about the ports.
The threads intertwining beyond space and time.
The biggest thing with Nintendo is they're very capable of stylizing things that are not necessarily graphically intensive to make them look a lot better.
Yeah. Well, that's why usually for when it comes to their games, at least, they have a unique art style.
Yeah. And it keeps things interesting, and it definitely shows that you don't need the highest,
No, you
you
don't.
know, intensity GPU to get a good looking game or a decent looking game.
Yeah.
This was kind of interesting that they had in this direct. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. This is an interesting idea. They have these virtual game cards now,
You can put a game featuring
and it's
Mario in this Nintendo Switch
it's
system,
lending virtually.
and Legend of Zelda game in this one. Freely inserting the games you have on hand into any system you want.
Yeah.
But what if digital games could be as flexible and convenient as game cards? Well,
So basically, what this is they're trying to make the
introducing
games that you own with Nintendo Switch Online easier to
in
share.
the future, virtual game cards can be used for digital games.
So how would it work? I put in the SD card and then
When
I take it
purchasing
out
the
and I
digital
have it?
version of the game, it will be
No, this is like you buy a game on the Nintendo eShop, and then you add your other devices to your family, and then you can share.
Oh, so it's like Steam Family Share, I guess.
Yeah, but it's like you can share it.
Can both of you guys play the game at the same time?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so it is like that Steam OS thing.
It's like a limited time too. Like you can share for like 14 days or something, and then you get it back. And then if you want to loan it to them for more time, you can share it for another 14 days.
This game on the second system, wherever and whenever you want,
Yeah,
just as if you had inserted a physical game card.
right. So like if you have two Switches, you see them moving it.
Which games
You load one, you load the games onto the different Switches, and you have it on that Switch.
Communication with your second system is required, but only the first time.
Interesting.
Lending to family group
Virtual
members.
Game cards to your Nintendo account family group members. Connect to your family group member system.
You can only do up to 8
When you want to play
Nintendo
a game,
accounts linked.
choose the title you're lending.
Now,
And
is
who
it
you're lending
streaming
to.
it, or do you download it fully?
I think they download it.
And you're done. They can now play on their own system.
I mean, to be fair, file sizes for Nintendo Switch are not the same
Particular
as they are for other
cards can be lent out for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
They will
Yeah, 14
automatically
days.
return to you,
Yeah.
making digital games even easier to use. Virtual game card.
It's just Steam
mean,
Family
it's-
Sharing, that's it.
I think it's a little more intuitive than Steam Family Sharing, but it's kind of a soft step toward being able to share your games more virtually, right? That kind of makes like the biggest thing with discs right now is you can just hand it to a friend and then they have it for however long you want them to have it,
You
right?
remember, you remember how Sony won the 2013 console wars? This is how you share games on PS4. Thanks.
That was funny. Yeah, I do remember that. But I think that if Xbox and PlayStation did this, that would be good as well. If you had a game that you owned on the or the what do they call it, Microsoft Store, then you could just loan it to me, or I could just loan my games to you for I don't know, a month makes more sense than 14 days. Yeah, this step 1.
Sharing the game.
Thanks.
PlayStation.
They just won the console wars by doing that. You know that, right?
That was it.
They won.
That's all that they needed.
They won that generation of console era by
Yep.
solely doing that.
All because
Xbox
Xbox was
didn't-
like, "Oh, you can't share games anymore.
You
You're
have to
gonna
be-
have to
you
have
have
it
to-
linked to your account."
You have to be friends for 30 days before you can lend the
Dang.
disc. It was
So
terrible.
stupid.
It was a terrible time to be an Xbox fan.
Yeah.
It was awful. We're a lot better now. It's a lot better. That's all I'll
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, it's nice now actually. Like my Series X is the best uh emulation machine out there besides a PC, I think.
Yeah.
Or like a Steam Deck.
Well, from what I know, I think we talked about it before, but the Xbox sales have been declining significantly. Like,
Yeah, it's
It's-
pretty bad.
I don't know what the reason behind it is. I guess there's just, well, it's having an identity crisis at the moment, I suppose, and I guess, people just don't really see a need to get an Xbox, of course. We talked about this before, but
Yeah. And we've talked about how it could increase in the future. For example, if
With-
they bring Steam to Xbox, they get some kind of partnership there,
that
or they
and
have a
the-
handheld.
Yeah.
They could definitely bring people over pretty easily.
Mm.
And the other thing is like Microsoft has so much leverage. They're the biggest company out of the three major console companies, so there's a lot that they can do. They're not pinned against a wall in any way right now.
It's
It's just
just-
that their sales are down.
They're not throwing money at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll see. Like there are a lot of rumors that have been going around, and supposedly we're gonna get an Xbox console or a handheld, branded handheld later this year. So we'll see. And there have been talks of Xbox next generation coming out next year. So there's a lot of things that could happen within the next 2 years that could shake things up pretty significantly. But
Well,
we'll just have to
GTA
wait and
6
see
is
with
one
that.
of them.
Yeah, speaking of GTA 6, a lot of companies are, like game publishers, are terrified of GTA 6.
Well,
Like, there's nothing set up for the later half of this year when GTA 6 is supposed to come out.
yeah, well, we talked about it before, but EA specifically, they're trying to time their Battlefield release because they don't know if it comes out this year, they're not going to release Battlefield. It'll come out in 2026.
Yeah.
But if it
Right.
doesn't come out this year, it'll come out this fall.
Yeah,
It just depends. And I honestly, like I said, it is not coming out this year. Knowing Rockstar's track record, it is not coming out this year. It's not. It's going to
Alright.
come out 2026. Mark my words. Because that's
all
how
right,
it was
they're
for,
marked.
that's how it was for Red Dead 2, if you don't remember. Because back in 2016, the reveal trailer came out, and
Yeah.
they said summer of 2017. Summer 2017 hit. There was no news or anything of it, and then
Right.
they put out another trailer after summer, and then it said like fall 2017, and then it got delayed again to fall 2018, and then the game actually came out. So yeah, knowing Rockstar, at least after they put out a trailer, you gotta wait 2 years. Usually it takes 2 years for them to actually put out the game since that very first trailer. So it ain't happening. I'm
that's
telling
not
you,
good.
it's not happening. It's not coming out this year.
It's
It's not coming out. I guarantee you, it's not. I'd like to be wrong, but not
the
com-
way you said that. Oh my gosh.
it's not coming
I'd
out
like
this
to be
year.
wrong. Oh man. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I just think we're gonna have such a dry spell of video games, right? Because
Yeah, but you know,
nobody wants to release around that time.
oh, Call of Duty will. They have.
Yep, Call of Duty is
They're
gonna
not
be
s-
the only one that comes out, and then everybody's gonna. I bet you, people are gonna flock to COD because they're gonna be thinking that they're gonna get GTA 6 at the end of this year, and it's not gonna happen. And then they'll all flock to COD, and COD will have the best sales that they've ever had.
Well, Call of Duty every single year is always #1 in sales on all platforms. They're always #1 in sales for each year.
Yeah.
Like for annually, they're number one in terms of sales. But that changes only when Rockstar puts out a game. So for all the
So if
times that
Rockstar doesn't put out a game this year, then they got it in the bag, is what you're saying.
yes, but if they put it out next year, Activision is gonna be second place.
Yeah. You know what I can't wait for?
I want Garden Warfare 3.
Well, but
Well,
I
that
want 60 FPS for Red Dead.
on console or
Yeah, Red Dead 2. I want 60 FPS
yeah, that's gonna be probably
on everything.
It'll probably happen after GTA 6 comes out.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
It
I'd like
would
to
be.
see that.
Well, I mean, it's there. You can always play on PC, but
Yeah, I could, but I don't want to. You know
can't-
what? Maybe I could. Maybe I could.
You could plug
Because
in your
if I get
controller.
that framework desktop, dude, yeah, I would totally.
Yeah,
I'd
that'd
try
be
that out.
nice.
Oh man, I'm gonna lose sleep over that thing.
I've lost sleep to so many things. Oh my gosh, that's.
I have problems.
Well, I do too. We don't we all. But
We're addicts, Nelson. Well, shall we talk about this?
yeah, what do you have in store for us? Let me make
Oh,
a quick transition.
I
What'd
just
you
wanted to
get?
bring this up real quick. You were talking about COD,
Yeah.
and like they don't have any creativity anymore.
Oh, don't
And
tell me
you
they
wish-
put out something else now that's just equally as terrible. Split Fiction? What is this?
No. This is creativity. And it's published by EA. And if you buy one copy, you get one for free for your friend.
Interesting. They
And
really
it's published by EA.
They don't think
And
the
it's
game's gonna
published
do
by
well.
EA. Like, that's the least EA thing that you could ever do, is give a free copy to another person. Okay, watch this. This is really creative.
We sure cause a lot of explosions.
Yep. Makers of It Takes Two.
And they've won game of the yeah, there it is.
Okay, you better get ready, because I'm about to show you Hazelight's next co-op adventure called Split Fiction. And let me tell you this, get ready for a ride.
This game is already out, by the way.
It is?
You play as Mio and
Yes.
Zoe, two
Oh.
aspiring writers that hope to get published by a new tech company that can simulate their stories to life.
Yeah.
I can't do this.
The graphics look pretty good.
It's got a nice art
Accidentally,
style.
they end up in the same simulation.
Yeah.
What are you doing in my story? Something bad is going on here.
And there, they find out that their stories are about to get stolen.
No one escapes my simulation.
And in order to save them, they have to escape back to reality through the very worlds that they created. But the thing is, they're strangers, and Miu writes sci-fi, while Zoe writes fantasy. So you will, for every level in the game, jump between a sci-fi world and a fantasy world.
That's pretty
See,
cool.
this is creativity. It's like two different games.
We at Hazelight love variation, and you'll have a unique mechanic for every level. Let me give you some examples. In this level, you start out by finding dragon eggs that hatch.
Hey, stop licking.
Then, they
Platformer,
become a little bit bigger
side
dragons, and new
scroller.
abilities.
It's a platformer, it's a side scroller, it's a third person shooter, it's a
And now, you can fly around and kick ass.
play with your friends game, it's a
Can magnetize and shift to different forms.
it's
But
like
I don't
a
have any friends.
it's like a story driven game too.
And you can now attack and hack different objects. Here's another one. You play as pigs, and they later become... Anyway, let's not talk about that level for now. And as always, with the Friends Pass, you only need to buy 1 copy of the game to play it with your friend online.
Isn't that
That's what
crazy?
it's about. No loot boxes, no microtransactions, and no bullshit.
No loot boxes, no microtransactions in an EA
A
game.
selling point.
Isn't that crazy?
It's a selling point.
Yeah, it's crazy that that's a selling point, but
I bet that hurt Andrew Wilson a little bit.
yeah, I think so. So that's, I mean, personally, I don't relate to the story that much because I'm not a writer, but
I'm not a writer.
yeah, if you're a writer or you really like science fiction or you really like fantasy, you're really gonna like this game. And it's just the biggest thing to me is it's amazing that they have all this graphical fidelity and that they were able to write basically 2 different stories. They have 2 different things going on this whole time. Or actually it's like 3. Basically this is a Phineas and Ferb of gaming. They have
The Phineas and Ferb of gaming.
yeah, they have
Great analogy.
one story, which is the science fiction one, and that's like Perry versus Doofenshmirtz. But they have another story that's like fantasy, and you're going through
Are you talking
like
about
with
the
all the
second
trolls and the
dimension?
ogres. Huh?
Are you talking about the second dimension?
No,
That was a good game.
but that could be good too. Yeah.
I love that game. That game was so much fun.
I wonder if I could play that. That's probably on Xbox, isn't it?
It's on Xbox. Phineas and Ferb Across the Second
Ooh.
Dimension. That
I'm
game
gonna have to
was,
look at
that
that.
game was supreme. It did not deserve to be that good.
Yeah.
That was
Well,
good.
that's the point. Like
that was peak
this
Disney
is a
gaming.
good game, and I can tell because it's just there's so much put into it. This could pretty easily win Game of the Year, even though it's like a very very early in 2025 release.
Well, they won Game of the Year back in 2021 with It Takes Two, so
Yeah.
anything can happen.
So, yeah, interesting. I think, they sucked up all the creativity. COD got none.
Oh yeah, COD definitely didn't get any. You betcha they didn't get anything.
I actually haven't seen this. Should we watch it? This thing? Avengers Doomsday?
Yeah, I actually wanted to talk about that as well, because
Yeah, I'll put it on because I haven't seen it.
yeah, we'll let it play in the background while we talk about it, because
Anthony Mackie.
I recognize some of the actors, and then at the same time I'm like, who is this guy again? What character?
Yeah, who's
what...
Anthony Mackie? I don't remember.
I know Paul Rudd. He played Ant-Man.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know about some of the other actors or anything. I don't remember because it's been such a long time since I've watched an Avengers movie, but
Yeah. I didn't think they were going to make another Avengers movie.
well, they were. It's just the fact that, well, this is directed by the Russo brothers,
Oh, interesting.
and this is supposed to be with Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is going to be the main
Is this an
villain.
alternate universe or what is this? Do we know?
No, this is the MCU timeline from what I know. Tom
Weird.
Hiddleston is in.
Patrick Stewart. I've heard a lot of these names, but I don't
Which is
remember.
also interesting because Patrick Stewart's going to be in it too, so we're going to have
Oh, isn't he like
the
Star
X-
Trek
He's
or
Mr.
something?
X. It's Star Trek. Mr. X. He's Mr. X.
Yeah.
Or not Mr.
Okay.
X. Professor.
He's the bald guy in the wheelchair.
Yeah, Professor X.
RDJ. Oh.
But he's going to be playing as Doctor
That was
Doom.
pretty funny. Okay. Interesting. So we don't get very much from this,
No.
but
It'll
that's
be-
kind of cool.
It's going to be like December this year for us to get a trailer.
Okay.
It'll be in like
So
December at
you're
least.
thinking like 27 release or something?
I think it was a 2026 release.
Really? Did it say?
When was
Just
it?
says now in production.
What does the description say?
is now in production.
It
That's
all
it.
leads to Doom.
Interesting. Doctor Doom. See, because I just watched the what do you call it? The Fantastic Four, like the one I talked about this, and Doctor Doom's in that. It was kind of silly though, so I don't know.
So
Uh,
apparently, if you look at that comment, it says the X-Men theme is blending in the Avengers theme. So the X-Men are going to
okay,
be in this movie, I guess, which is pretty cool.
okay,
That's pretty cool.
interesting.
From what I know, at least, uh, they didn't showcase all of the actors that are going to be in this movie because that list would go on for like 5 minutes. The chairs.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, they just showed like
They
a lot.
couldn't get enough chairs.
They didn't have enough. They didn't have enough chairs, I guess.
Oh man.
I mean,
Yeah.
my only
Are you looking forward to this?
the short answer, no.
Okay.
And
Here's my answer.
yeah,
I'm looking forward to another movie with Robert Downey Jr. in it. And I think I don't think I've ever seen him play a villain role. So it'll be interesting to see if he can.
well, him playing as Doctor Doom, I think, was actually an interesting choice to say at least. I think it makes the most
Yeah,
sense
I
for
think
him
it's interesting.
to return to the MCU franchise as a villain now this time around, but I
Yeah.
seriously think that they are just banking on nostalgia. I
Yeah,
really do.
I
And
think you're
look,
right.
I know the Russo brothers, they've done really good with a lot of their previous Marvel films. I think that, especially with, Infinity War, which I think is a better movie than Endgame. I love Infinity War. I don't care what people say. I think Thanos' story was for what they had to show for
Pretty
him.
solid,
I
yeah.
thought it was good. I thought it was really good. And you got an ending where, yeah, the superheroes don't win. I thought that was great.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
So I think the Russo brothers did a pretty good job with, directing some of the other movies that they had. And I mean, I'm sure that they'll do a good job for what they have here, at least with Avengers Doomsday, but I don't know about um, some of the, well, you know how the current Marvel movies are going at the moment. I'm a little bit worried for Thunderbolts. I hope Thunderbolts actually does well. I do want to see it. Gosh dang it. But um
Mm,
I really hope it doesn't bomb. I'm going to be sad if it does. I hope it's a good
yeah.
movie. If it
I
gets
don't
like
want
an
Fantastic Four to bomb.
I know, cuz that seems to be me at least like the clean slate that Marvel has needed, like the start of a new
Yeah.
phase. That's what I think they've been
Okay,
needing.
here's the thing.
Yeah.
With Disney and with Marvel projects, we want to see the bad ones fail, but we don't want to see Disney fail. Because
No,
Disney
we want
and
Disney to fail.
Marvel, no. Disney and Marvel have made so
Burn
much
it
good
to the
content
ground.
in the past. Wouldn't you agree?
I suppose. I guess that they've made decent content in the past, but the thing is, that content, at least, to me at least, gosh, I'm gonna use words over and over. Um, it it seems like just filler content, at least with a lot of the TV shows that they have going for.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I just wish, my only concern, especially with Avengers Doomsday, is do I need to watch all the previous content in order to understand what story is being told here? Like,
Yeah.
where is this
That's a big
starting
problem that
point for the
we
next
have, yeah.
phase? Yeah. Because I really
Right.
don't want to go back and watch all these terrible shows and movies just so that way I can understand the current movie.
When did this MCU start? It started with the first Iron Man movie, right? And that was back in
So
what
that
time?
was phase 1. Phase 2, I believe, was Ultron. Phase 3 was Infinity War. Then phase 4 was like post Endgame or something like that. Or I don't remember what the
Yeah.
phases were. It was bad. It was just
But
bad.
when did the first Iron Man movie come out, do you know?
2008.
Okay. So it's literally been almost 20 years. It's been 16 years. And Yeah,
It's
so
been a
you'd
minute.
have to watch 16 years worth of content to figure out what was going on, or what is going on up until this point in the Marvel universe, basically.
Well, for me at least, the last like real Marvel movie that I watched was Spider-Man, that third Spider-Man movie,
Yeah,
No Way Home. I think that's what it was called.
yeah, that sounds right.
And I liked that one. I thought that one was good for what it had to offer. It's
Yeah.
just afterwards I was like, okay, I'm done. I don't really care anymore about the Marvel franchise. I
Yeah,
think what they had was good and everything. I'm just not all that interested.
right.
But I mean, RDJ is coming back. I think that's great. I do think that's nice, but I think to myself at the same time, yeah, but it's just nostalgia. They're really just hard. They're banking on nostalgia, and that's about it. That's at least that's what I see it as.
He's almost 60, isn't he?
I have no idea.
I think
He
he's
looks
getting up
good.
there.
He looks good for his age, I would say.
Yeah.
There was, I don't know, I think that for him at least, there was a phase that he went through where he was going vegan or something like that. I don't remember.
Oh yeah.
And his head was shaved and everything like that. And well, he was working on Oppenheimer and everything, and I thought he did fine in Oppenheimer, but
Yeah.
he seems to be, he looks like the same old RDJ that we've all known for the last 10 to 15 years. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I mean, I guess it'll be interesting to see how they tie it in with RDJ being Iron Man and now Doctor Doom. Like, are they gonna say anything? Like, hey, you look like Iron Man.
I don't know. My guess is that because, Professor X is going to be in the game, or not in the game, good lord. He's going to be in...
So like they combining
How,
timelines or something?
yeah,
Or...
like how is that going to work? How are the X-Men going to be in this
Yeah.
movie? Is it going to be like the X-Men from the 20th century era that we all know and love? Or is it going to
It's
be
kind of
a
confusing.
new version of the X-Men? That's what I want to know. It's crazy
Yeah.
that Patrick Stewart's going to be in that. I think that's crazy because he plays that role perfectly.
Isn't he Spock? Isn't that the guy
Spock?
from Star Trek?
I have no idea. I don't remember.
Wait, let me look up.
I never watched Star Trek. I didn't.
I didn't either.
Why are you bringing it up, Logan?
Because that's where I know him from, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's. I think so.
The bald man.
Whoa! Look at that picture. Whoa!
Oh gosh.
Yeah, this guy. Star Trek. It's Star Trek guy.
Star Prince.
I know that guy. Yeah. I don't know. It could be interesting. I
Well,
guess.
Speaking of flops, Logan, of potential flops, well, you and I both know that it was without question that Snow White was going to be
Oh yeah.
horrible and like just an awful movie, like probably one of the worst movies of all time.
I kind of want to watch it just so that I can
Make fun
tell
of it.
people that I have and I actually know how bad it is.
Instead of just.
But I don't want to give
bandwagoning.
Disney money for that crap, and I don't want to. I don't know. Maybe I'll wait until it comes out on Disney Plus and I'll actually watch it.
That'd be better.
But they always like to boast about the Disney Plus numbers too.
Well, you can't really win with these people
Yeah.
because they've made a system at this rate where. What's my point? They just made a system to where, they have pretty much every single advantage. The only advantage that we have is just canceling our subscription and stop giving them money and our attention.
Right.
I don't know. They have a pretty good grasp on the millennials, I would say.
Yeah.
They really do. That is their defining generation, I would say, is going to Disneyland, taking selfies, posting them on Instagram, and all that nonsense.
The Disney adults.
Yeah, which I'm honestly kind of sick and tired of seeing in my online, on my news feed.
Yeah.
But
well, I have one more thing to talk about. I don't know. I don't really think we have anything for politics, really.
No, I mean, we've already talked about what was it, Trump's tariffs and everything, and how
Yeah.
they got delayed and now they're being implemented in April, I guess. That's what it's supposed, at least from what I know. But
To be
um,
fair, the tariffs are bringing like there have been tariffs on car
they're bringing
companies and
jobs.
like Hyundai is making a massive investment in the US. They're building steel shops and stuff, steel
Well,
manufacture
what's
things and such.
what's crazy was before all this, Hyundai specifically, um, the cars were better quality in South Korea than they were in America,
Mm,
which is shocking to me. I don't know
yeah,
why, but I
probably because Americans are lazy and we don't build cars right.
well, I guess, but I
I don't
mean,
know.
I like cars that are made in the U.S. I think,
I agree.
Ford especially, because Ford used to, it was one of the first like cars ever made in the United States, and it was that, you
Yeah.
know, how would you say it? One of
They
those,
popularized the assembly line thing
and
and they got
they also, what was it, popularized the idea that if you know, you can
it was a
work
cheap
for a,
manufactured car you can work for car.
you're able to buy your own car
Yeah,
off of a certain wage. That was
right.
one of the greatest things about Ford back then.
Yeah.
But now, at least with, I mean, their current cars, I can't really say all that much. I'm sure the Ford Bronco is great, of course, because
Yeah.
you guys have one. I'm sure it's great.
Well, the quality is not that amazing.
It's not on par as the original, you would say.
Mm, I don't
Those
know. I can't really
90s,
speak to the original Ford Bronco, but it's like there have been issues with it. Like the door doesn't it hits and the door frame and the paint chips and there are creaks and there are issues. I mean, I like the car, but
yeah.
yeah,
Well, what was it? Those Ford
Dodge
trucks
has
from,
been making mistakes.
oh my gosh, yeah. Well, they haven't been dodging mistakes, I will say. So
Yeah.
they have been making all
Uh,
sorts of mistakes. Like this was when rumor got out that Dodge was making a electric charger,
yeah.
it just got some of the worst like backlash possible, and everybody's like, "Yeah, this is a terrible idea. This goes up against what a Dodge Charger is supposed to be." Dodge Chargers are supposed to be that, how would you say it? That type of like,
Grumbly muscle.
yeah, like, oh, we're better than Corvette. We're better than all those other car brands that your dad or your grandpa.
Camaro,
Yeah.
Chevy Camaro,
Yeah,
and
it's
yeah.
supposed to be that we're better than everybody else. Now they're worse because they're now making an electric vehicle, which this is
Yeah.
just awful. It's just a
Well, I
giant
think the
speaker on
problem is
wheels.
not that it's electric with for me. I think the problem is the implementation of the electric aspects. Like, okay, Hyundai released the Ioniq 5N, and that one was actually cool because it simulated it like this. They
It
tried to
had
make it
paddle
simulate
shifters and
the
everything. It was a nice That was a
yeah,
nice car, I will say. I remember you showing
yeah.
that to me. That was a nice car. I'm like, "Wow,
It
that's
was
nice."
cool.
That's a good, yeah.
It's a good electric car. Like this they try to get it to simulate gas
Like a
sounds. They have
V8.
the yeah, and it doesn't sound right. Like it doesn't shift at all. It it's just no it like there's no feel or anything. It just smooth
You don't feel
acceleration like a normal
power.
electric car.
You don't feel the power or anything like that.
Right. There's no power shifts, no nothing. In the Ionic 5, it actually simulates the shifts. You can feel the shifts, you can hear the shifts. It like they actually put thought into that. This feels like I don't know, all
Cheap
the
Chinese
sound-based stuff
knockoff.
and the gas stuff was an afterthought. Yeah. I think I mean people have like Marquez Brownlee drove this car.
Marquez.
And he said it's a pretty
Marquez.
comfortable cruiser. So I think
Yeah, but
it's
he's rich. He knows he
yeah.
can give all
He said that he hated the sound system. He thought it was dumb. The
the
mock,
simulating the V8, that type
yeah,
of stuff.
yeah.
You know, it makes me wonder what Jeremy Clarkson would think about this. What James May and Richard Hammond would say. They'd be like,
That would
"Oh, it's
be
dreadful.
pretty funny.
I'd rather drive a Nissan that ugly
Leaf.
Nissan. Yeah, the Nissan Leaf."
Yeah. I think it's kind of abysmal.
I mean, looking at it from the side, that looks nice.
It's kind of a cool design.
It's a
Yeah.
cool
I
design. Can it come in a gas variation, please?
I think did you watch this video all the way through?
I watched tidbits of it, and I watched
Okay,
the
yeah.
portion of the video where Doug DeMuro was showcasing like how it uses sound to replicate like a V8 engine, and it just
Yeah.
sounded like the most awful thing possible. I'm thinking
Yeah.
this is just so poorly done, I would say. This is like
I think
tarnished
that
Dodge's image,
they
I would say.
yeah. I mean, the previous gen needed an update, right? It was old.
It was
It
like
made
what?
sense.
It's been around since 2012, I think.
Yeah, it's been over a decade, I think.
Yeah, when's Mazda gonna make their newest generation, like the NF?
NE?
Oh,
It would be NE.
NE, my bad. I'm not doing the
Yeah.
alphabet right. Jeez.
A B C D E.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
NE. When is that gonna happen? Do you think that'll happen at all, or do you think by like 2030 we'll get
When
a
was
new
the first gen one? Was it
2016?
2017? 2016. Okay, so it's been almost a decade. I mean, that design holds up though.
Well, to be fair, Mazda usually updates their generation of cars every 10 years. So, because
Yeah.
the NC launched in 2015, or not 2015, 2005, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So,
Interesting. So yeah, maybe we could see an update for that. That could be cool. I mean, the letter E is kind of scary, especially for Miata. Like E means electric typically.
do you
And
think?
if we
I
get an
don't know.
electric Miata, that
I
could be
I don't
less than
know.
good.
I think if they were to do an electric car, I think it would go up against their identity
Yeah,
for what
I agree
Miata
with that.
stands for. I think
If they could do
Miata.
it right, like if they really, really tried to minimize weight and
Would they?
they
How
got
would
an
they do it
efficient
though?
battery system, I don't know. They'd have to do something really special. And I don't think that that's likely.
You need to have, for a Miata at least, it needs to be a manual. It has to be a
Yeah,
manual.
right.
I don't
So
know
they'd
how
have
they
to
would.
do like the Hyundai system, but you'd do a fake manual. I'm
So
not
is it like a,
sure.
because the Hyundai system with the paddle shifters and everything, that just
Yeah,
reminds me of a CVT, because CVTs use that type of, because it's a
yeah,
variation of an automatic transmission.
right.
But I don't know. I don't know how you would implement that. You just need that,
I mean, it'd be
having
like a
that,
driving simulator, you know, because we
having
have
that
video games where we can do that.
Well, the thing is, having that mechanical feel back when you put your
Yeah,
foot on the gas and when you put your foot on the brakes and on the third
right.
pedal on the clutch, it's that type of feedback just
It's hard
creates
to
a
replicate
it's a
without the actual
yeah,
mechanics behind it.
it creates a unique muscle memory. And
Here's the thing. I think it can be done. And I think if there's a car company that could do it right, it's Mazda. Like I can't think of any other car company that would do it better.
do you think they would ever do that though?
I don't think it would happen. I
It
don't
would
think it would make sense financially.
it would only
I think it would
happen
cost too much.
it would only happen until gas-powered engines eventually are basically, you know,
Yeah, gone. Outlawed.
outlawed, and EVs are subsidized at that rate. But I don't
Yeah.
think within my lifetime at least, I don't think gas-powered engines or anything like that are going away anytime soon. I think they're going to stay around for as long as possible.
Yeah, I
And
think they'll be around for at least another 20 or 30 years.
for us at least, yeah,
I mean, it's hard to project that out that far in the future.
I know.
Like
It,
40 years in the future, that's a long time away.
oh yeah.
But going back to this car, I think that they said they were going to release a V8, or they hadn't ruled out a V8 variant.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if their sales for the gas V8 would be exponentially
Yeah.
greater than this electric vehicle that they have going
I mean,
forward.
this could be fixed. Like if the electric system could be done better. Like if they followed in the footsteps of the Ioniq 5, this could be a legitimately fun car, enjoyable. And if it wasn't so overpriced, like I think it's like almost $80,000. That's way too much. If this was like
I didn't know it was that much.
50?
Yeah, that's even the
Yeah.
N50 is still too much.
Well, I mean, if you look at how much chargers cost anyway, that's probably in the ballpark. So I
Yeah,
think
but if you
50
go
is
to
probably
if you go to you can find
yeah.
I'm gonna have to cut that out. But if you go to any other like local dealer that
Right.
can sell good used cars, of course, you can find really good Dodge Chargers for like $20,000 to $30,000 with probably around like 20 to 40,000 miles.
Yeah,
on
but they're
them.
all thrashed.
Probably, yeah. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised. But
But I mean, if they did a V8, so here's the thing: if they released this design with a V8 and a six-speed manual right off the bat, I think they would have tons of pre-orders on their hands, tons of sales. That's good press. And then maybe they waited a bit and then they released the electric version. I think they would have something. But they like pushed this straight out the door, pretty much unfinished,
yeah.
and it's a problem. I think it's going to hurt their sales and stuff.
Probably will.
So yeah. Cool design, interesting car, poorly executed. I think that's the main moral of the story here.
Gosh, lower the price. Jeez, no.
Yeah. $80,000 is just too much.
Well, the car market's really bad at the moment. It's supposed to get worse after, the tariffs and everything get implemented, but it's only going to be it'll only happen for a certain period of time before it'll start to be realistic again, but
yeah.
it's the interest rates especially that make it just awful, I will say.
Yep, that's one of Trump's priorities is getting them interest rates down. Be interesting to see. Get it? Interesting.
It will be interesting to see exactly how he does that, and I mean, only one way for us to find out. We got to live through it. But
yep. We can always speculate. And that's what we're here to do.
Yep, we're the biggest conspiracy theorists on this side of the planet.
Oh, speaking of conspiracy theories, did you see that one with the pyramids of Giza?
I heard about that, but I didn't look too much into it.
I didn't either, but like they said there were like pillars or something underneath the pyramids
or something like that, whatever it was.
Yeah. Going all the way down to bedrock,
like
almost a kilometer down.
Just excavate it, for gosh sakes.
I know. They're all speculating about it, and it's like, what are you doing? Just dig. How come we've never found this out?
So anyways, I started digging.
Yeah. Conspiracy theories. Anyway, I'm tired. I'm ready to end.
All right.
Yep.
You can end it off for us.
Yep. We appreciate you for sticking with us this long. Let's see, how long did we make it? Hour and 40 minutes. That's pretty good. Yeah. So we appreciate you sticking with us for an hour and 40 minutes. And we will have this podcast out at some point. So thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.